the Kenyan struggles in the Olympics. Louis, let's begin with our very good friend from Tongaren, Ferdinand Omanyala. What exactly happened there? We had very high hopes, and I've seen that there's a pattern, like when he's running in Kenya, or I want to say on the African continent, he tends to score, like very high record-breaking times. But when he gets onto these big stages for some reason, that time is not much. This time he was not even able to make it to the finals of the 100 meters. I mean, of course, that lineup was so deep. This was small. And that's when I learned that you could have crossed, your legs could cross fast.
Torso, chest.
But what they count is the torso.
Yeah.
I don't know whether that's the head or the chest.
Torso on your chest.
Okay. Yeah.
Because if you see most runners, when they do what they do is they
lean forward
with the
yeah.
chest.
But then my thinking, like my amateur thinking was, because you're running with the legs and this is a foot race, they would look at whose feet cross fast. That was my thinking. And that's why the Kenyan struggles in the Olympics. Louis, let's begin with our very good friend from Tongaren, Ferdinand Omanyala. What exactly happened there? We had very high hopes, and I've seen that there's a pattern, like when he's running in Kenya, or I want to say on the African continent, he tends to score, like very high record-breaking times. But when he gets onto these big stages for some reason, that time is not much. This time he was not even able to make it to the finals of the 100 meters. I mean, of course, that lineup was so deep. This is one of the deepest 100-meter lineups I've seen in a while. But Louis, talk to us, with Omanyala's situation. Like, I know it's not been easy for him preparing, but just give us, like the lowdown of what was happening there. Louis.
Well, I happen to also be a very close friend to Ferdinand Omanyala, and I have watched him go through his training programs. I have facilitated some of his training programs here in the United States, albeit briefly prior to the Olympics in Paris. It would be too soon and too early for me to say anything because, number one, I'm not an expert. Number two, I am not deeply ingrained into his business and his daily activities and how he actually faces the races and stuff. But me being a friend to him and having been heavily involved with him while he's in the United States for the last almost 2 years right now, and helping him out also with access to trainings and just whatever that he would require for preparation to the Olympics. I would say this: there's always a good day and a bad day in the office. What could have changed? I honestly really do not know. He would be the best person to say what really changed. And he felt that after the very first heat where he blew the stage, but then coming over to qualify for the semifinals, it was a little bit harder for him. He would be the best person to answer that question. I don't think I'm in a position to answer that one. But what I can also say, though, is the depth of the field that he was running against to qualify for the semifinals was kind of unimaginable. But also, if you look at his time that he ran a pretty decent time. The earlier heat, he did a 10.8, it was 10.81. Then the second one, he also did a 10.8 something, but those guys are smashing a little bit higher numbers than that. What really happened there, I cannot tell. Honestly, I do not know. Even when you speak to the coach, he has his own explanations, and I wouldn't want to share them at the moment. It's still fresh in the minds of many, including him himself, Omanyala, and his manager, and his coach as well. So I don't want to get myself into those details. But when you get to look at majority of those 100-meter runners, they all perform best in their home crowd. Noah Lyles, when he runs back home here, he smashes numbers that are very unbelievable. When Oblique Seville ran in Jamaica, where Omanyala was also participating as well, he literally smashed the record. He did a 9.78 and no 9.79 before Omanyala came out. I think he did a 9.78 in Kenya, I think, if I'm not wrong. No, Omanyala had done that before. So Omanyala, when he was in Kenya, he did a 9.77. That was in 2022, or was it 2021? So it's more of a home advantage. When you have that crowd puller, it kind of like gives you that enthusiasm and motivation for you to actually do better. Me personally, knowing Omanyala, he's somebody who relies on the crowd a lot to push him. So probably, maybe that could also have been some of the anesthetics behind it. But I'm not a professional to be able to determine that, so I cannot answer more.
Okay, fair enough, Louis. And I think the next Olympics.
Mimi got maoni.
Yeah, ngoja kidogo Mika. I think the next Olympics is gonna be in the United States. So if Omanyala is coming, I think we can guarantee him that he will have a very big crowd of Kenyans cheering him there. You know, because Paris, I don't know, you know, like how many Kenyans are there, but when the Olympics comes to the US, I think there will be a very big 4 years from now.
28.
Yeah. So he'll still be, you know, like he'll still be eligible. I know Nimbali, but he'll still be eligible. But Mika kona maoni, I can even hear, you know, like I can even anticipate what Maoni is gonna give. But Mika, let's hear what you have to say.
Have you heard him sigh?
Yeah, let's hear what you have to say, Mika.
No. I totally agree with everything that Louis has said, right? And one thing that for me, I can say the difference. Like if you saw that field, I know people are. Let's look at the finish. There was a photo finish of 3 guys, right? Those are 3 guys who had a photo finish for the number 1. So that's how close it is. But then if you look at the chasing pack, it wasn't that far off.
No, they were close.
It was right there, right? So this is where it comes down to what advantages do you have over the other athletes. So you have talent. All of you have talent there. You have speed, right? All of you have speed, you have technique, you have trained, right? But there's something called game day preparation, game day readiness. And sometimes game day readiness goes to a single thing as who has the better supplements than the other one. Because you need that extra edge to be able to allow your body to synthesize that protein and give you the best advantage of it. To give yourself that energy boost that you need, so those carbs that are in your sugars are burnt faster than anybody else. Your lungs have to be tip-top. So it goes down to sports science. And that is why there was that edge in that particular race. Like everybody was so good, but then if you look at the people who finished top, are the people who are actually close to resources than anybody else.
So just to chime in a little bit also on there, Mika, sorry to cut you short for there, my apologies. Having a chat with Omanyala just after this whole situation, he told me some point that, Louis, I have beaten everybody that was in that field before.
True.
And like right now, I think the number 1 person is Usain Bolt. And we have Tyson Gay, and I think we have Johan Blake. And remember, Omanyala also beat Johan Blake in Kenya during the Kenya Classic. There's Asafa Powell, Justin Gatlin, then Christian Coleman, who was not in the race for the 100 meters because he didn't qualify. Then there is Trayvon Bromell, whom Omanyala beat also before, and Fred Kelly, who was there. And Omanyala is the number 9 in the world right now with 9.77. So even if Noah Lyles came up with 9.79, he still has not beaten Omanyala's time. So what I'm trying to say is that when athletes go out there for these races, there's always a good day and a bad day. You know, you would think that maybe I'm prepared, but some dynamics may just not be able to make it, and you turn back and you say, no, this is not my day today. So probably the best person that can be able to explain that in depth would be either the coach or the people around him that look at his physiology and those kind of anatomy.
Well,
yeah, that's true. That's true, Louis. I agree with that. Like, at the end of the day, the person who actually will be able to explain everything himself is not even the coaches and everything. It's the runner himself, because he's the one who's right there on the field, right? Maybe while you were warming up, you didn't warm up. You didn't warm up well. Maybe you pushed or something. Maybe you're not just feeling it that day. You didn't sleep well. Your mind was like there's so many reasons. As somebody who has played sport, I can tell you there's so many reasons whereby you have a bad day, and you look at it, and everybody looking at you knows that when they were seeing you training, when they were putting you on the field, they knew you're gonna have you're gonna beast that day. But then it's just into you. So that's true. That's it. Like for me, where I'm coming from with my point, where I'm coming from my point is just saying that the support system also sometimes comes in play and helps out. But at the end of the day, it's the athlete who will tell you the more reason why that day was not a good day. But let's continue this conversation. I need to end it. My Django will come in later on.
Okay, sawa. Asante sana, Mika. And with these 100-meter runs, to me, they're very interesting. They're one of the most interesting events because the margins are so small. It's a breath, it's a step, it's like how you lay down the head, like on the finish line, what they were calling the torso, like the margins are so small.
Yani chest.
Yeah, the margins are so small now, and that's when I learned that you could have crossed, your legs could cross fast,
Torso, chest.
but what they count is the torso.
Yeah.
I don't know whether that's the head or the chest.
Torso and your chest.
Okay. Yeah.
Because if you see most runners, when they do what they do is they
lean forward
with the
yeah.
chest.
But then my thinking, like my amateur thinking was, because you're running with the legs and this is a foot race, they would look at whose feet cross fast. That was my thinking, and that's why
that would be a disadvantage. You could not run miguu refu.
I mean, kuna watu wana miguu refu ndio, but of course longer legs, that will always be an advantage because you're clearly taking fewer steps than a shorter person over the 100-meter range. So
since steps, kuna watu vakiatu number 12.
That's another thing, yeah, and of course because margins ni ndogo, even a bigger shoe size can end up making you be the one who crossed that line first. So quite interesting. I think they should allow draws because Ikitu, I think at the best they should have given both of them gold medals. But